In 2 months, my hardest demon has gone from ACU to levels on the top 150 demon list. In this video, I'm going to share some tips that I've learned along the way from playing levels up until this point. Even if you haven't begun any extreme demons yet, most of these tips are general tips that can be applied to all difficulty jumps in the game, so stick around. Starting from the very beginning, whether you've beaten your first extreme demon or not, you're going to want to take your progression one step at a time. By looking at the difficulty gap directly, it looks much more intimidating than if you break it down into multiple parts. So for my first tip, don't feel intimidated by the difference in difficulty within extreme demons. It's very large. We can probably guess it goes from ACU to Slaughterhouse, bro. But with over 500 extreme demons, there's plenty of levels to jump from one level to another. It also helps to have a level in mind. It doesn't even have to be on the list, but it's probably better to not have it on the list. So like a halfway point that you struggle with now and keep it as a goal to beat later. For me, this level was Crystal. I played this level after I beat ACU. I found it. It looked really fun, but it was really impossible for me. I could not do it. Eventually, I was able to beat it, and it was a huge motivation booster because that level looked so hard to me before. So I would definitely recommend you finding a level like that. Speaking of finding levels, with there being over 500 extreme demons, how do you know which ones to play? I would simply just break this process into 2 different parts. Find levels based on similar difficulty and similar tiers of difficulty, and then choose based on what you need to improve. I'm sure that if you've been around the past year, you've heard of the GDDP. This is a great resource for finding levels, but personally I really don't like a lot of levels on that list. I mean, some are really good, but they want you to be 5 or 6 of each, which is 1, I think way too many, and 2, I feel a lot of the levels are very, not even in the similar difficulty. So if you want a choice, you really don't have much of one. So one resource I found fairly recently is the non-list worthy extreme demon spreadsheet. I don't know who made this. I will probably try to put that in the description if I can find it, but it's really useful as it literally just takes every demon that's not in the top 150 and puts it into a tier, and then it tells you what skill sets it caters to, which is really good for the next step because you need to find what levels you need to improve at. If you're really bad at wave, you're going to want to play a 9 circles level or a wave heavy level, like Succump in Hell. Or if you need improvement with nerve control, you're going to want to find an XL level to play. And then finally, make sure you actually want to play the level once you start practicing it, because if you really aren't enjoying it, it's not going to get you through it any quicker. You're better off just finding a new level that lets you have fun and to just be a wave level later, for example. Now that you've found a level to play, this should be the fun part. Generally, you're going to want to practice levels learning the end first and working your way backwards. It seems odd at first, but it really helps. It helps you get really consistent at the end, and then as long as you keep practicing the end, you're going to probably shouldn't die there too often, hopefully. And then I usually try to learn levels in sections of about 20%. Usually levels are kind of already split into 5 parts of equally 20% about. You can kind of change it up as the level goes. Pretty early on, I'll try to go for 60% or so to 100, as it's just a really good run to have, and eventually I'll go to 40 to 100, and then usually by then I'm good enough to beat the level. But having the level in 2 runs is really useful as well. One thing that'll help you get through this better without stressing yourself out is just don't set time expectations. It's never a good thing, just because if you get past that time limit, you're gonna be really stressed out, and you're just getting in your head all the time, and then you're just not gonna be able to focus and beat the level. And that comes along with another thing. Don't even listen to the title of this video. This might not take you 2 months. This could take you longer. It could take you shorter. Everybody's progression's gonna be different. It's really not good to set a time limit on anything. And then if you ever figure out you really aren't enjoying a level, let's say you kind of were when you were practicing it, and then now you're actually playing it from 0, and you kind of just start just hating the level, and then you realize there's another level with maybe around the same difficulty or harder, and you just rather play that, just drop the other level. It's not even worth playing anymore. Just play the new one that you like better. It's just not worth it. I did this with Anoxism, and then I switched to Carcano, which Carcano is supposed to be harder, but I found it so much better to play, and it was much more enjoyable. And I kind of just I never came back to Anoxism because it's just not fun. Once you know you're committed to a level, 1 of 2 things can really happen. You either beat the level without too much trouble, or it ends up taking way longer than you want. This happened to me recently with WoW, but I definitely I'm kind of glad it happened because it helped me build a stronger mentality, and it also helped me learn what to do in these situations. So first thing I learned, don't ever be afraid to re-practice parts, especially with longer levels. If I'd ever felt I wasn't getting anywhere from 0, I would just re-practice any choke points early on in the level, or anywhere in the level really, and just make sure I really had the second half of the level down, and especially the ending of the level down. You can't really over practice with levels like this, because eventually you'll just get to a point where you get far and you get kind of nervous because you're like just tired of playing the level. But besides that, really just try to like stay positive and try to have fun at least a little bit. It doesn't really matter whether you beat the level today or like 3 days or so. Like, just try not to let any like time constraints get to you. Even though I said like don't set time expectations, you're still gonna have them. It's kind of impossible not to. One thing to keep in mind, it's kind of like a cheesy quote, but like nobody has ever failed that has never given up. You literally can't fail if you just keep going at it. It's kind of like the mentality you're gonna want to have with some of these levels, because they get pretty hard and they will get frustrating. Anyway, those have been my tips that I've learned from progressing from ACU to now beating list demons. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you have any extra advice or you think these tips are the worst you've ever heard in your life, leave it in the comments. I would love to know. I want to start creating Geometry Dash related content, mainly just playing Extreme Demons and like my thoughts on them and just, I don't know, having fun. And any criticism now is like really appreciated, because if I can improve something now, then I won't have to worry about it later, you know? So anyway, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.